How I Ruined a Marriage. I know the title sounds weird, but hear me out. This event took place before the pandemic. I had worked at this job for at least 6 years before I finally left its toxic environment. I got along with just about all of my coworkers. I also live with my mom, which I will only say is because of a couple of things. My stepdad passed away from lung cancer in 2018, 7 months after he was diagnosed. In 2019, she and I got the house we currently live in. When this event took place, I worked nights at my job at the time. I would normally be home around AM due to not driving and it being too cold to use my eBike. I would get rides from coworkers or bike depending on the weather. This is also Canada, so it can get cold, and my asthma makes it hard to bike in cold weather. This was my day off, so I was hoping to just relax and sleep. However, I was woken up by some sound above me. I live in the basement of my house. It's a finished basement, and my bedroom is under the living room. I just chalked it up to mom watching some TV. So, I get out of bed and go to grab my mom's bedding that was in the dryer. As I was getting up the stairs and opened the door, I saw the dog. The dog, Buddy, was my stepdad's dog, whom he called his furry son. Buddy kept my mom sane after my stepdad passed away and comforted her in everything that came into her life. It was strange for me to see this dog in the kitchen instead of the living room or my mom's room. He was practically glued to my mom's side. I asked, "What are you doing out here, Buddy?" He wagged his tail at me. I went toward the living room door and saw that it was shut, which confused me. I just mentally shrugged and opened the door. "Hey, Mom, I'm bringing up your." I stopped when I saw a very familiar face on the couch with my mom. "Oh, up. This is I know who he is, Mom," I said, not really cluing in as to what was going on. My mom asked, "How do you know him?" The guy's eyes were wide since I walked into the living room. "I work with his wife." Mom was confused and leaned back a little, looking at the man. She asked, "Your ex-wife?" Before he could answer, I said, "No, his current wife, insert coworker's name." Mom was in shock. I didn't clue in as to what was going on. I just talked as I walked further into the living room with her bedding and set it on a chair. I pat Buddy and made sure he went outside to do his thing, and then went back to my living room in the basement. The guy was kicked out a while later. Beforehand, he had begged my mom to tell me not to tell his wife about this because she was possessive. For months, I kept my mouth shut, but that wasn't all. Mom told me that Buddy had actually growled at Jay. This dog, who loves everyone, growled at someone. That alone shocked me. Jay also knew my mom's cousin and her cousin's husband from high school. Mom mentioned it was part of their conversation before I came up the stairs. She told me that he was there because they met on Tinder and this was a date. I wished I knew sooner. I would have kicked his ass out the door myself because if there's one thing I hate, it's cheaters. My mom had been cheated on before and she was thankful that I came up when I did. There's still more to this story. I had kept my mouth shut for months, not telling my coworker, L. Months after this date, I was working with her. As we worked, I heard her saying she was being kicked out of her townhouse. I asked what happened. Elle told us that Jay tried to overdose, and she managed to get help in time to save him. Yet, how does he repay her? By trying to get her kicked out of the house. Hearing this, I thought, screw this, no repercussions. Then, I told her everything. I told her how he met my mom, was at my house, and what happened. When I was done, she just stared at me, a mix of shock and something else I couldn't identify. She confirmed that this had happened before. Jay cheated on her throughout their entire marriage. They have 5 kids. Her oldest is in their 20s or 32nd. He was the possessive one, not Elle. Whenever they separated, he was allowed to see other people but not her. With what I told her, it seemed worse than what he's done in the past. Their marriage was toxic, with him destroying her property and hacking into her Facebook. There's now a restraining order against him. He even tried to tear her down by saying no man would want her because she was used and old. She isn't old. She's still young and has a lot of life in her. He told her she's too old to get a union job, but she proved him wrong. She got herself a good man, a good paying job, and even lost weight. She's doing a damn good job living her life now. One thing I asked her after telling her everything, Elle, you said I look just like my mom, right? She said, yes, you do. I had posted pics of me with my mom on Facebook from her 50th birthday, and Elle commented how much my mom and I look alike. Her husband met me many times because he would bring Elle coffee or her debit card. So, how is it that your husband didn't notice how much I look like my mom when he met her? I asked. Her words, because he's a fucking idiot. I laughed at that. Even their son, who also worked with us, told me his dad isn't that smart or bright. So, It had to be true if his wife, now ex-wife, and son said the same thing. When I told Elle how he knew my mom's cousin and her husband, she said he would have tried to get lucky with her too. Though that wasn't going to happen, as my mom's cousin is very much in love with her husband. This guy tried to get lucky, only for it to ruin his marriage. Karma at its finest. But I still wished I had said something to her sooner. That is my only regret. But I'm at least happy she got out of that toxic marriage and is now living her best life without that jackass.